Hello?
Oh, my heavenly Lord. Tom, what is up, dude? Shit. Dear heavenly. I tell you what, man, I've done about 130 of these damn things and never gone through that part. Man, well, let me say thank you very much, first and foremost, for the patience and taking your time today, man. I really appreciate having you on, and thank you, first and foremost.
That's all right. I mean, I screwed up at the start because I wasn't following you, so it wasn't coming up in my feed, and I was like, "Where is it? Where is it?" And I was like,
Okay, okay, all right. Well, hey, I appreciate it, and thank you very much. So here on Growing Any Live, basically what we have is I start out with an initial introduction question, then the remainder of the interview is about you and your craft, your career in art, and then I have one finale that I wrote just for this episode. So if you're good and comfy, my man, we'll get this bad boy started. Sorry, it's a little bit later than I anticipated, but. All right, let me ask you. My wife and I do some traveling. If we're coming through, somewhere local to you in the UK, where would be somewhere, a local eatery? What would be some place that we would have to stop by? And what's a favorite that you have to have at this specific spot?
So somewhere eerie.
Sorry. Yeah, eatery. Yep, like a restaurant, eatery somewhere.
Oh, restaurant-wise. I used to live in London, so I used to know a lot of places, and now I live back in the Midlands, which the nearest place that you'll probably know in America is Nottingham. So it's
okay. Okay, gotcha.
So, I really in a blank. I mean, if you're from America, I mean, obviously the best thing to do, I suppose, would be go to an old pub.
Okay, sure.
There's a lot of the pubs have been sort of taken over now, but there are still some really old pubs about. But
are you seeing?
I'm quite an Americana food fan, to be honest. So I used to always like burger places. So it's pointless telling me to go to those.
So a nice pub and a burger, yeah, that'll always do for sure.
Or fish and chips, obviously, if you're in the UK.
Oh yeah. Okay, nice.
Yeah, I think Nottingham's got one of the oldest pubs in the country. But London used to have some. There was a pub in London we used to pass by. It used to be like where Jack the Ripper supposedly went. And
wow, Jesus!
There was still that was around Brick Lane wise.
Oh. okay. I mean, definitely rich in history.
But, yeah, a lot of them were hang around Soho a lot, and there's a lot of old stories about that. It used to be a lot of old metal bars, but they've all closed down now. The COVID sort of killed it off. So.
Okay. Are there still like certain places that were favorites of yours that are still around, or has a lot of that stuff fallen to with COVID and everything?
Yeah, there used to be. So it's like metal bars that we used to go to that were fun. There was one called the Intrepid Fox, and it kept getting shifted every time they redeveloped them. And eventually it moved to this pub that was opposite a big cathedral in London. So the cathedral church was sort of there. Then over the road was this metal pub with like a plastic demon outside and hell painting. So that never got moved. But the moment they redeveloped the flats and they built them up into like some sort of office blocks, then they closed it down and got rid of it. So commerce and industry is more powerful than the church.
Oh no, dear Lord, man! Oh man, it cuts at no corners. It's like I'm gonna take what I'm gonna take, and good Lord, doesn't matter if it's from the church or not. Shit.
Yeah. And then the Crowbar was a really good one in Soho. That was a great pub. But that the COVID finally killed that off. That was so you used to walk in, it was so tiny, but it was lovely.
Damn.
But yeah.
Well, on a lighter note, so we'll take it from there and we'll go to your art, and as far as in the earlier days, I wanted to dig in first of all with at what point you can remember an interest in art starting, and what were earlier subjects that you liked drawing, may it be animals or faces or different things, when you were kind of really starting to get into drawing and the craft.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose art is something I've always been into. I mean, when I was at school, I didn't really realise, because I'm knocking on in years now, and I was dyslexic and noticed really more, I've been aware, really badly numerically dyslexic. And I was also quite ill as a kid. So at school, I could have maths and English it just never sank in. So drawing was something I sort of art be it modelling or whatever, was something that I've sort of found an outlet in. Plus then being sick a lot, you know, being in bed and watching TV and drawing for stuff to do, because, you know, back then didn't have mobile phones or the internet. So
yeah, right.
So yeah,
right.
so then I kind of got into, when I kind of got into videos and collecting films, I used to sort of do my own covers, because you couldn't afford to sort of buy the films. You'd record and make your own tapes. Lots of kids did it, and
Oh man.
and then that got me into graphic design. And then as when I sort of left, because I left school, didn't really know what I was going to do. And actually, when I had a bad time with art. I didn't get on with school at all. My art teacher before I left, well, my final year when I was meant to leave, actually failed me on art, because I sort of recreated like a Graham Humphreys. I don't know if you know Graham Humphreys. He's a old English artist. And I did sort of the zombies in his sort of style, and the bloke just sort of didn't like me and failed me.
Oh no!
Yeah, they did retakes, and besides, you get a bad teacher, it just doesn't click with a kid. You know, and it sort of kills them. But yeah, so I went back, redid it. Then I got into college and did design, and then I sort of got more into graphics, and I went from college to uni. So I got more into straight graphics, and it more of a sort of vocational job. So then I kind of got further away from doing the sort of stuff I do now, because it's all very much straight graphics. And I did have a hard time kind of fitting into that 90s trend of graphic design that was about, but I did all right. And then I did university, then I left and sort of got into jobs. And then when I got to London, I kind of got more into just, you know, the lifestyle of getting out, getting pissed, getting wasted, and clubs, and you know, just that. Only from Midlands going to London, and when I finally got into that, the job then just became a way of facilitating getting out and getting wasted, really.
Okay.
Then I started to slow down a bit. Well, no, I didn't. Just things happened. My dad passed away, and I started to sort of mess about with art a bit. And I got more. I was working with a local cinema, doing like flyers for the film stuff. So I was like combining what I do design wise with what I love film, because I always found it hard to sort of, you know, every artist sort of had his niche or thing, and I found it took me quite a few years to get back into VHS, which I actually found again through an internet website that I've closed down now, and it was like one site on the internet that just posted old video covers that I don't know who did it, and I found these and I was like, wow, this is what I used to really love. So I started to experiment more, and then the more I wanted to kind of capture what was that essence of that art, because in a way I think VHS art is kind of it's an art form. There's a certain style, composition, elements that need to go into it, and the more I wanted to copy that, the more I sort of had to get into sort of illustration again, and I was kind of scared of it in a way. Doing straight graphics, you never sort of did that thing, and I was working at PlayStation, so you know. Then I got more into it, and then that sort of led back to doing these video covers and refining. So I kind of learned on the job a bit, because when I mean, mind you, you're going to talk about it later. When I first started doing this, I was still working full time, and I left a very good job to earn crap money and do this. But, so I tried to develop it as it went on. So that short, long answer.
So you mentioned early on, you know, doing your own covers and kind of making your own, you know, version of like a VHS cover. Have any projects come up, you know, since where you've gotten to go back and look at the old cover art that you did originally and kind of, you know, went back from the earlier inspiration?
No, because no. I mean, ones I do remember. I got somewhere. I did Halloween 2. Mind you, I ripped off a book cover when I repainted. Well, I'm a kid. You didn't used to rip things off as a kid. You used to
yeah.
So there was a book called The Manson. I don't know if you've ever come across that book. It's quite a popular pulp art. Anyway, it's a brilliant cover of like this pumpkin with teeth on this staircase thing.
Oh, wow.
And I redid that and did it on 2. And I did an It cover, and what was the other one? The thing from outer space, but the black and white one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I remember doing those things. Sorry.
Do you still have any of these?
Yeah, but they're absolute crap. So
nice.
What's better?
I just mean for a keepsake. I mean, that's cool. You know, holding on to something like that.
Yeah, I've still got some of the old art pieces. I've got like the ones we did where we were a kid. Mind you, I'm skipping through some of the. When I was a kid, we used to. I mean, the first experience of video and film was my cousin got like an early VHS recorder. He was a few years older than me, but I remember I think I was like 6, getting hold of Rambo and Rambo.
Oh yeah.
So although we watched Rambo 2 first and then Rambo 1, because Rambo 2 is more of a kids' film when you watch it.
Yeah.
I did loads of drawings of like Rambo. I've still got them, and it's like Rambo blowing up people and body parts and everything. So I used to draw
Nice.
like that. And Punks and the young ones we used to watch. So
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Okay. So at what point, as far as your interest, does it come, as far as like your hobby and passion with art, did it, turn into something where you saw it could be like a career opportunity? I know you mentioned that you left a good paying job and a full-time job at the time. What was it? Was there a particular piece where you're like, wow, I could actually do something with this?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing was I started it off doing it as a sort of an art project. And they were more sort of Photoshop based, which now I see like some guy mocks up new films in old video covers and gets lots of likes on Instagram. I was like, fuck, I was doing that about 15 years. So I knew some of the artists there, and I was doing like these mock-up art covers, and that's where Dude one of the first points where I did like this Dude cover, and it was actually from a cinema night. I think it was watching Grindhouse, double bill. And I got completely pissed in the other competition where you could design a poster, and I did like this dude looming over. And then I sort of redid that as a bad video cover, and then I did a couple more. So it was an art project. And then I did one. Then there was a cinema showing where they showed Death Wish.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who did Shaun of the Dead, I can't remember the director, Edgar Wright, was showing Death Wish 3. And they got another artist to do it, and I was doing all the files, and I was really pissed about it. So then I went off and did my own. I was like, fuck it, I can do this. And I went off and did my own, like, I was really getting into the Italian Eurocrime, Polizzi, they were called, films. So I was getting into all that sort of stuff. And I did my own version of like this guy called Cannon. And it was sort of, I did dressed up, took some photos, and did this sort of art project. And I was sort of messing about making films that didn't exist. And then I got picked up for a few projects, and I got picked up for a few more. And then when I did Hobo off as just a speculative thing when it came out, and then that really took off. And then I was getting commission sort of things thrown. So, and it was at the time where work was getting a bit funny. They were moving more to artwork, and the creative had gone. The London riots were kicking off at the time, and I don't know, I thought it was just like a sign to jump. Now I'm thinking, fuck, should have stayed in the well-paying job. So it kind of just went that way. I mean, it was crazy. I was working, and then I was like, I bought a load of paper plates, and I was just having like microwave food because I was working at my job, then coming home and doing the covers, and I was doing cover art at work when there wasn't any work, and they started to get pissed about it. It was just so it started to mount up, and I just sort of took the chance.
Damn. Okay.
Pay-wise, it's not been the greatest move, and career-wise, professionally, probably, I don't know. I've been doing it for 10 years now.
Yeah, 11.
Right. I've had some moments with it where I've like gone to conventions and had some of the wildest nights hanging out with all the old horror stars and getting absolutely wasted with people that you'd be like, fuck, you could have told me, you're going to be doing shit with this guy on this hotel one night, and I wouldn't have remembered it, but it was great. I got to meet, Will Forsyth. Bill Forsyth is one of the coolest guys.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And he's, man, I mean, because there was always like the joke in Britain, like Americans can't drink. And it was like, fuck that. Like, drink all the old horror stars. Because you always got the set that kind of would turn up, go to the rooms. Oh, okay. Then there was just the set that would just line the bar and just, they drank it. For a few years, it was great. And I got a good mate, Nick Princip, who did like Chrome Skull and stuff.
Oh, okay. Damn.
And he knows absolutely everyone because he does a lot of stunt stuff. So and welcome him to the fold, and it was great. I had some great nights. So, it was probably just worth it for that moment.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the life experiences and some of the things that you might not have drawn out of something from, you know,
Yeah,
the job that you had beforehand, for sure. You know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
different payments in different ways, for sure.
It's the
So
little things in life.
yeah, right. With being at it, you know, for 10 years, for the time that you've been, you know, and sometimes when a commission comes up, and maybe it's something where they can only show you the trailer, or they can only show you so little. Is there a time where you've been approached as far as for a commission that you didn't know very much, and after, you know, you had done the pieces and you watched it, you just fell in love with it? Like, you were that much more happy being involved with it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of times. I mean, a lot of the times, I'd say probably the majority of the time, particularly on the indie stuff, obviously, I don't know the film. I
Mm-hmm.
usually get to see the film, and it does help because, you know, you kind of puts things into context of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
There were two definite ones. The Innkeepers, which was like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it's the second job I did. I didn't know a thing about it, and I never got to see a frame of that film. And it was kind of, I did a bunch of concepts, and Ty West sort of wanted to go in with one that I didn't really want to think fit in, and he just sent words, and the one that I can kind of remember was like Ghostbusters. He wanted to sort of do a Ghostbusters thing with it, and I did fight to go with this sort of Victorian ghost thing with the inn with the ghosts sort of
Mm-hmm.
wrapped around it, and I really did sort of push and fight for that route. And some people were like, when it came out, they're like, "Oh, this is nothing like the film," and I was like, "I don't know, I never got to see the thing." But I do like that poster. I do think it's great.
Yeah.
But again, that was just obviously the director. The other one was that I remember was The Heat.
Oh
I
yeah.
never got
Okay.
to see any of The Heat when I did that, and it was just kind of going off what I know and what I do. And I suppose that's why I was approached to do it through Mondo at the time. And then when I actually got to see the film, I mean, Paul Fig put the poster up on the IMDb page, but when they released it, generally they never used my sort of poster or key art.
Okay.
I think it was more of an online promotional thing they did. But when I actually saw the film, I kind of got the point of what they were trying to do, and how my sort of the art that I was sort of commissioned to do kind of related back. Because when you watch it, it is kind of being like a twist on those sort of another 48 Hours, 80s buddy cop movies,
Okay.
but with Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock and being a bit more comedy sort of twist on it.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah, so when I saw it, I was suddenly like, I got it afterwards. I was like, oh yeah, it does work and it fits perfectly. And it's a shame they didn't use my key art because it kind of sets up the joke, which again, a lot of key art should do, I think, when you're doing poster art. It should kind of, you know, it's the intro to the film. It sets up the tone and the voice. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, you get the video and you sort of have the box and you'd sit with the box and you watch the film, same as you did with albums.
Mm-hmm.
So it did kind of add to the experience. It kind of sets you up with your expectations of what ride you're about to go on.
Oh,
So
totally.
I think a lot of key art, particularly if you're going to do sort of, you want to truly capture that sort of VHS classic film art thing, you do have to relate to the tone of the film, reflect that, and emphasize it, even if it's a case of overhyping it in a sense of like an idealized vision of it. You've still, you know, you got to play by. This is why I say it does help see the film. You kind of got to play with it. So it's harder with some of the indie films where there's, you know, you don't get rubber monsters, you don't get the high concept storyline. They're hard
Right.
to sort of get. It's like, how am I going to get someone interested in a guy in a jeans and a t-shirt on this?
Yeah. No,
Whereas if you get some big fancy monster or something, you're like, okay, now we can really go with it.
yeah, yeah. You know, and
Probably why a lot of the 80s stuff's a lot more easier to play with.
right, right. Yeah, you know, it's always fun. I mean, even if it's something a little bit more simplistic, and you can look at it and kind of get the joke, and maybe even a little bit of a punchline in there. You're like, oh, okay, I can, you know, dig into this and kind of see what's further behind the door there. You know, once you go in and check it out, and, you know, want to see what's all about, you know, the story of the movie there too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
A
love
couple of
that.
times I've kind of done away with the storyline, just gone, fuck it, I'm going to do like a version of the thing. And I think
Yeah,
I've done the thing twice on stuff. I did the sort of thing with Grey Matter, which was a short film based on a Stephen King film.
so cool.
And what was the other one? The underwater one. Hypothermia. I
Oh
think I did
yeah,
that.
okay, okay,
Just do a kind of the thing.
nice,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, there's a few of those. There's been a few others where I was like, okay, well, we'll just ignore that and just run with it.
Well, so digging into your interests, I mean, as far as but before all of this, you're working into it and whatnot. What were early posters that you remember catching your eye? May it be at a theater or maybe a local video store, or even video cover art? You mentioned going through local rental shops. Posters or cover arts, what were things that drew your eye, maybe even early on before you could rent this stuff?
Yeah, I've also said when I was a kid, I do remember, obviously go down to the video shop, you get the posters, seeing the covers. We used to have a very dodgy video van guy, and we got a box of like covers off him. I remember that. We badgered him for ages and finally got this box, which I really remember that, showing out these covers, and it was great. And I sort of rebought a lot of them. So that obviously influenced me. I can't remember exact covers or films, but I remember those really being fun. Oh, I do actually tell a lie. One of them, I don't know if I had it to hand actually, somewhere. Black Roses in the UK.
Oh,
the UK
yeah, okay.
Roses.
Okay.
I remember I used to paint for Halloween. Mum would get a wallpaper and used to sort of decorate the garage and the walls. And I remember repainting that.
Okay.
These things are always there, but I'm trying to shove all my videos back on the shelves and didn't really organise anything.
Okay.
Oh no, there it is. There you go.
Yeah.
That was great. I remember that
rules. Shit, I've never seen that cover art before. I'm familiar with the other one. I've never seen that movie either. Does the cover art hold up to the movie?
Yeah, I mean that shot does appear in the movie.
Right. That's always fun.
It's very much, it's an 80s sort of punk band.
Yeah, I love that.
Basically, you go touring and they're mutant monsters and they kill people as they go around. I think it's Canadian, or it's one of those sort of things. I actually got in contact with because when I put this art in the book, the VHS cover book, and I did contact the artist and actually tracked him down and said, "Did you do this?" And he was like, "Yes." I'm a bit ashamed of it, but he mainly draws sort of dinosaurs.
Damn, that's
this
awesome.
was nearly good. I remember this was a good one. Graham Humphrey. So that's not the book twice. That's a better version of it. That I absolutely loved.
Oh
Graham
man, that's sweet. God,
And,
is that the same movie?
No, that's Return of the Living Dead.
Oh man, that is awesome! Holy shit!
Like, yeah, you know it.
Wow.
It's a great one. Even little guys on the back, I think.
Man, that is sweet. All drawn out too. Wow, I've never seen that before. The red can.
I remember, like, yeah. Well, yeah, we have them. All the UK video boxes are.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
So
okay.
I know you have I've got some. I know you have the sort of slip cases, but the UK ones are all.
Yeah.
Damn. But like I remember coming across that, I bought that in like the ex-rental bin because I kind of got into it, but horror, and I remember getting Night of the Living Dead and then coming across that, and it was like, wow, they made a sequel, and watching that.
Oh,
there was
really?
that first period of time where I started to find films where people died at the end, where you're kind of used to them all surviving, and it was those.
What are you trying to do to me here? Make me cry and bummed out? Shit, what is this?
I like films like The Blob, where everyone can die, but then at the last minute you're all laughing and.
Right. So you showing some of these covers. I wanted to dig into, maybe 3 of your favorites out of your collection. What would be ones that are maybe just holy grails out of your VHS collection?
Well, funny thing. I mean, I remember when I got into VHS collecting. I got into it a bit later. I mean, I know some people carried on through the 90s. But I kind of just caught the tail end before it just got stupid. So everything now, I mean, I was not really spending much more than a couple of quid. And now they're going for like 15, 20 quid. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
We always like, I don't know if I can get it. It's somewhere.
I mean, the ones you just showed too are absolutely awesome. I can even say Black Roses. That was one of those movies I still kick in my ass to this day. I saw it at a video store some years back, and this was before. I not to seem like a supremacist or anything, but for the longest, I always wanted to support local video shops and buy from actual stores as opposed to getting things from online or some of the fun. I'm sure this is kind of you too. Was the hunt of the thing. You go to a video store it's not there, you know. So it's like, well, shit, maybe if I go to the other one a little bit further out of town, maybe they'll have it, you know. And you get there and you're like, yes, you know. So I think that kind of that spawned over a little bit with finding movies too. And just recently I've given in because there's a lot of places shutting down.
Yeah, I remember, well, Neon Maniacs was one. Have you seen Neon
Maniacs? Yeah.
I remember trying to see that, like, every video shop, and as I kind of almost got it, they'd be like, oh no, we got rid of that. So I never saw that until, later on in life, really.
Okay, damn.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I mean, I think I used to love when I got into the VHS collecting, was going around car boots or trunk sales, or I don't know what you call them, jumble fairs or whatever. Okay. Yeah, now you can't find anything because I think they've just gone too old. So if anyone's getting rid of them, they've gotten rid of them, or they've seen that they're worth a load and sell them online. Yeah.
Okay. Now you've mentioned in an interview a mobile rental shop. Am I getting this right? What the hell is that?
It was a guy, really dodgy guy, who used to go around in just like these. I mean, we had these vans in the 80s, 90s. They were like mini vans. So it's the sort of thing you'd expect to see drive around Russia. The sort of thing you'd think fall over. If you saw him, you'd piss yourself. So he'd come along and open up the side of it, and it just had like a wooden rack down and a wooden rack against the back bit. And you'd sort of slide open the door and you'd just see videos, and you'd basically pick a video and you'd do that once a week.
How do you return them? Just when he comes back around?
He'd come around the following week.
Okay. Oh man! So I mean, is he throwing rocks at your house when you don't return them and shit?
Oh, he's dodgy. As I say, he'd probably stab you, basically. I don't think he was just selling videos. If you ask me, I think.
Oh shit!
Drugs, everything was going out that guy's man.
I heard you mention that, and I was like, man, I was trying to look it up online, and I was like, I've never heard of. I remember through school we used to have something where it was like a bookmobile where they would have like you could go and select a book and different things, but I'd never heard of movies, especially with it being like a rental type situation. I'm like, how the hell does that work? That's awesome.
It's like a nice green van but with videos, basically.
Okay. Nice. I mean, that would have been maybe a good idea. Maybe that's why he went under. If he'd have brought that ice cream on that damn thing, he'd still be around.
Like so, I'm sure he supplemented it with porn and drugs.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Within all the movies, racking your brain a little bit that you've seen over the years, what would you say are three scenes that are just forever ingrained in your brain, whether they were disgusting or gross or just shocking or scary? What would you say are three scenes that you can never forget?
Yeah, I thought about that. I mean, it depends what sort of age we're talking about.
Sure.
I was thinking about it because it's a novel. There's not. I mean, I'm sure there's lots, but there's sort of films and stuff. I don't know if there's any specific scenes. I remember sort of certain iconic films. We used to have I mean, that was all part of it was all part of that thing as a kid, that without having the internet and there was no sort of database of films that you could find, so you were constantly coming across stuff for the first time, which was, I think, a great way to do it. So I vivid memory the first time you came across The Alien, and then found out there was a sequel called Aliens, and seeing that. And then there was a program on we had BBC, and there was a series called Movie Drone, which was hosted by Brian Cox, who directed Repo Man and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
They showed like really weird late night, and I used to love that. I used to get really weird late night shit on TV. And I remember, I distinctly remember the double bill he put, and you think, well, it doesn't work, but it did work. He'd put on stuff like, and it was the first time I saw like, what's the Don Johnson film with the dog? It's like the apocalypse. Is it Man and Dog? Anyway, he did that, and then he did one night. He did a double bill of Maximum Overdrive and Phase 5.
Oh man, was it Man's Best Friend?
Yes, that's one. That was good. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay.
But yeah, Maximum Overdrive and Phase 4, and you think, well, those films don't go together, but they both have the similar sort of concept of like meteor, something not that's that's not really there, but taking over the world, like in trucks in Maximum Overdrive and Phase 4, The Ants. And I distinctly remember that.
Okay. Nice.
And I think Maximum
Nice.
Overdrive is a really underrated film. I think it's
Oh,
got loads of endless quotable scenes that should have a bigger cult. Should have quote-alongs basically. That's great. I can still
yeah.
recite. And the other one is what is it? Graveyard Shift, the Stephen King one. I absolutely loved that film.
Okay.
I got really into that. That's got loads of quotes in it. It's got a great one with Brad Dourif as the exterminator. And he does that line about, I'm not one of these fucked up Vietnam vets that you see Bruce Dern playing, and his eyes are watering. It's really fucking freaky. It's great.
Right.
So that's the thing. Obviously, disturbing things. I remember for my birthday, and I don't know how I came across them or what. And I remember, like, you'd have to pick stuff out there to get videos. You go to the video shop and they had a catalogue, but it was just tech stuff, and I'd sort of pick out stuff. And I got Night of the Living Dead and Evil Dead. I mean, imagine seeing those two for the first time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And Night of the Living Dead, I do remember that being a bit of at the end, because I said it's that thing where you're used to seeing films where everybody survives, and then like Night of the Living Dead, he gets shot.
Yeah.
So that was like, okay.
Yeah.
So that sticks out.
So with watching The Evil Dead, was that one too where maybe even seeing Night of the Living Dead, and I can't say it was by any means tame, but I feel like watching that and then watching The Evil Dead after, it's kind of like a juxtaposition, like, whoa, boy, this just got really messy really fast.
Yeah, mind you, if anything, I kind of thought that Night of the Living Dead was more disturbing than Evil Dead, because I always thought Evil Dead was kind of, I know people took it deadly serious at the time, but it was kind of a bit more tongue-in-cheek, kind of humour take to it. But I just loved, I loved seeing films as a kid where you could kind of, the low-budget stuff, where you could almost see how it was made, or, you had that hands-on approach, handmade films that, I loved that sort of stuff.
Totally.
And what's his name? The other one, Brain Dead, was another one that you could just kind of see how it.
Oh yeah.
Is it called something else in America?
It is Dead Alive, but yeah, Brain Dead. There's a lot of different releases over here too that come out as Brain Dead as well too. So yeah, that's. I forever wish that Peter Jackson would come back and do a couple of maybe even shorts. Just some of the ridiculous shit that he had going on in his mind at those times, making those movies, man. That was bad taste.
He started those Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. He's like, boy, this is what money is. Shit. I guess.
And the Feebles. Have you seen Meet the Feebles? That's warped, that one.
Shamefully, I have not actually. That's another one that I have. That's gone past miss. I saw Bad Taste. And then Dead Alive, and for some reason, Meet the Feebles always passed. I never saw it in any shops or anything like that. But is that one that you like too?
Yeah, well, it's kind of, I don't know. I felt it's kind of. I remember it as a kid, and it's kind of bleak. It's kind of almost depressing, and it's. I mean, I know they joke about it, it's like seeing the Muppets just really massacred, and it's quite depressing. And
okay.
It's probably not as bad now. I just remember it as being a kid. It's quite.
Yeah, for sure. I could see that. Kind of. Boy, that's you have the Muppets and like Fraggle Rock, and it's like you seeing that shit get massacred and murdered. You're like, this is not what I signed up for.
Hardcore sex and violence.
Oh, geez. Okay. Wow. That's. I know they have a. There was another movie. I think Vinegar Syndrome put it out. Let the puppets come. You know that's another. I think that was like one of their like rated X releases, and I was like, what in the fuck is this? That's what it reminded me of though. Was that Meet the Feebles? I didn't pick it up, but I can only imagine. Jesus.
Yeah, this actually is a short-lived web series, which is I think they did a Melissa McCarthy film, but I kind of ripped off this series, and it was like a human cop and a puppet.
Yeah.
saying. I can't remember the name of the series. That's quite fun. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. I remember seeing that movie too. I'd have to look up the series. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, small indie series. It was quite good.
Oh, okay, nice. So I wanted to dig into next as far as so your interest with horror, and then going into directing. You had Teddy Bear's Picnic. So first off, I just wanted to dig into how this idea came about, and how did you end up directing? How did that come about?
Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah, I pursued that sort of thing for years. It was around the same time I sort of started doing the poster stuff started to take off.
Oh, okay.
And sort of moving in that circles and wanting to do something. And I was with a guy at Sony who was a writer, and he was sort of writing stuff and doing some film bits. And I was like, I could do this. So I was sort of coming up with ideas. And I always remembered, like, I say, Neon Maniacs. I remember the trailer as a kid, and it was like, the trailer shows that there wasn't just like one Freddy and Jason, there was like 10 of them, and they're all different characters.
Oh, yeah, okay. Damn.
So I always like that sort
that.
of concept. And there was another sort of indie film called, what was it? Can't remember the name of the title, but it was like so many maniacs escaped, and each one had its different thing. And I was like, I like that as a sort of concept. And then I was trying to come up with something that was sort of almost like an urban myth, or was sort of ingrained in culture. For instance, like Troll Hunter, trolls in Norway.
Yeah.
And he was the guy who was writer was Irish, and it's like Pixies. I was like, so what sort of concept? And I always remember the song Teddy Bear's Picnic, and it was always a weird song, and it was kind of normal, but then there were certain lines like, you're better off staying at home and you better not go alone. So I was like, what was always that about?
Right.
So I thought it'd be cool, we could do something with that. So I played around with that for years, and then I sort of created these characters of the different teddies, and I came up with like 4 characters, and I had like baby, girl, spelt girl, teeth, and claws. It was all like they were, and I was like, so I came up with these sort of these characters. I was like, how did they get like that? And then I came up with this whole idea concept of this asylum, and there were kids from an asylum in the woods, and I wanted to make like this weird surreal nightmare horror thing. Teddy Bear's based on the song and what's about. So yeah, so I came up with this whole pitch, and then I did get signed up to a contract to sort of do it for Dallas Sonner, the producer who did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But they sort of, yeah. But then they kind of just, and I signed contracts, did everything. They just sort of I don't know what happened. They kind of just pulled everything out, and it sort of fell apart. And I was like, I was literally almost getting ready to sort of pack bags and go into production. So that kind of left me in the middle of it all. And then I'd worked with the co-writer, Russell Norris, and we'd sort of fleshed out this script. We'd done the script. And then it was just kind of left in limbo. And I was always like, it was a dream. I wanted to do it. And it was constantly whittled away at my brain, wanting to do something with it. And then after I left London, I then came with the idea of going, well, fuck it, I'll do a short. See if we can get that out. It's not gone as planned, but so I put too much money in it. It was a real fucking hard mission.
Okay.
And it was an experience. I was good. I mean, I was like, I got the actress that I always wanted to get in the actual film, because when I was like signing the contract, so like, what actress do you want? Because originally the story was going to be about this. The main protagonist was going to be a grandmother. And I kind of like the idea of like the woman being completely out of her depth in, physically, mentally, and everything. But they were like, you can't sell a film with an old woman as the main actress. So then I had to change it to the woman. And I was a really big fan of Justified at the time. And I saw Abby Miller playing. She had a great part in it, of this kind of like sweet prostitute, meth addict with a heart of gold. And she was just blew me away, and I always wanted her. So when it came to doing the short, I reached out to her, and I knew Lawrence Harvey from Human Centipede. He's this great sort of character actor. So he was close by, so I got him to, he agreed to play the bear, so I got that. And then tried to get a bunch of people together to do it. And I got introduced to the world of indie film in the UK, which was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest.
Was that your first time directing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And first time doing everything, really. I worked with a great DP on it, who kind of got it, James Fox. So he was good to work with. I was really on the sort of visual side of it, so then sort of creating all the props and the costume, designing all that sort of thing. And I mean, the most fun I had on the whole thing was I overdid it a bit, but I built I've still got them up in the loft, bags and bags of these prop bears.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I had this thing where I did the bears, so they kind of went from being like a little bit weathered as it went on, and then they kind of got a bit more darker, and then at the end they were kind of like these tribal bears where they were just completely made of like wooden bits and stuff. And the bear costume as well, the idea of the bear costume was, because when I did when I signed up, they had a special effects fella and he played with a mask thing, and he kind of got one of the big oversized teddy bears' heads and sort of did it. And I was like, no, the point was these were kids who'd sort of got these baby grows, they'd sort of grown out with them, and they also had like, each character had a disability that they used as their strength. So like Claws had a hand brace, Jaws was someone who had like his mouth brace, but they kind of adapted them and used them. And then the masks were meant to, I was like, the masks, the idea was they just literally rip a teddy bear's face off and stick it on. So that was kind of important. And then each bear had a different way of the mask working. So yeah, Lawrence is actually Baby from the concepts, and they came out pretty close. I threw a claw on him to kind of give it a bit more of a threatening point. But it came close. But yeah, so making the props and the bears, a lot of it gets lost on the actual short. They over smoked and shot through, and it was like, oh, we lost it all, and it's not really there as clear. But yeah, I had this big grandiose sort of vision. But I think it came out really good. Fucked up. We did film festivals with it, and it did great. Fucked up a bit on the release because I was going to release it through Shudder, but then everyone kept saying hold it back until you kind of get a deal or something, and I was, and then it was getting worse, and it wasn't happening, and so I held it back, and then Shudder, not Shudder, sorry. Who's the what's the YouTube horror channel, the big one, Crypt TV?
Oh yeah, TV? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, then Crypt TV, and they've then fucking licensed some of the short that ripped it off called Teddy Bear's Picnic and put it out. Yeah.
No really shit. Wow.
And I wrote to them and said, "You fuckers," and their lawyer went, "Fuck off." Yes, that really gutted me. They used and so that short's got like 5 million hits, and mine's just kind of lost online now. It's a shame because it was,
Damn, no shit. I wasn't. It was actually yesterday, or maybe so. I wasn't going to bring it up on here, but I was going to ask if that was a thing because I saw that and I saw it was on Crypt TV, and I'm like, this is pretty fucking pretty close to that. And then I noted, and then I think yours was published. I don't know, it was 3 or 4 years earlier. I mean, as far as like a date too. So I was like, holy shit, I wonder if something had happened with that, but wow, that sucks.
Yeah, and also they knock that quite quickly to get shit, to be honest. I mean, just they shouldn't be, because they're not, I mean, legally they're not allowed to take the song because it's still in copyright. And they kind of just took the song and got somebody in a crap suit to just dance it. It was crap, absolute crap. But yeah, I was trying to do something a bit different with it. So yeah, so it got lost.
Man. So now, as far as with the song though, I had noticed, I was looking through, and Sophie Galpin, she was the one singing it. Was that something that was an original piece that you had done for the short? The actual Teddy Bears song. Yeah. Yep.
No, well, the actual, because the Teddy Bears is actually an old song. It's an unusual thing as well because the music to Teddy Bear's Picnic was written like. Oh God, I used to know all this. My memory's fucked. It was they wrote it about don't binge drink. They wrote it about 10 years before the lyrics, and it was kind of successful. It was always put on the radio, the oldie time radio, and the kids liked it. So then I can't remember the name of the game. It's all gone now.
I should have said the recording.
Then somebody did the lyrics, and this other guy came along, added the lyrics to it.
Oh, okay, got you.
So yeah, so if you want to buy the rights to it, it's a bit of a fucker because it's a nightmare.
Damn.
So that was added. So the actual song, if you go down to the Woodstay, is an old song. Sophie Galpin was brilliant. She was in the member of a band that I can't remember, but she's a really successful musician. She's been on all the music shows in the UK, been on loads of stuff. So she's a really good musician. She came along and did a great, like she does all the musical score bits.
Oh, damn.
And yeah, I mean, the DP was great. She was great. And I didn't, I can be a bit of a perfectionist about things and always, but her score was just got sent, slapped it in. It was just perfect. Didn't have to do a thing. And it just fit. Yeah, she's great. She did a brilliant job with that music. Absolutely top notch. Well, the song is an original old song. And then we got my partner at the time, who also helped produce it. It was her uncle was big into organs, and he got a friend, I can't remember the name of what it was, but he had this proper old Wurlitzer organ, and they recorded the end music. That's that whole that's really surreal, because I love that song.
Oh yeah, organ. Nice.
Which did come a bit out of the Evil Dead, actually, because at the end of the Evil Dead they've got that whole music. That great music piece at the end, which we got recorded, so that was all new. But yeah, the actual song Teddy Bears was an original.
Wow. Well, man, I hope that's something.
That's another thing I forgot about the characters as well, because I came about the characters, and it was trying to. Each one had a different. Some of them had voice boxes, so that's the idea about he didn't talk, so he had the voice boxes that would say these phrases that would be really sinister. The film's got a fucking great ending. I still love the ending to the original script.
Damn. I hope that it gets to. I hope that it gets something from the shorts and from different things that I've heard in interviews. I mean, that would be awesome to see something with that, because the short was effective, and there's some full length films nowadays that aren't doing a whole lot. So something for a short, I always enjoy seeing.
Yeah, not a fucking chance in hell of it.
Okay, that ship has sailed.
If I'm ever in a position, because this is the thing, with a lot of film stuff, and I think this is a lot why a lot of really shit horror gets made, and a lot of indie stuff, because unfortunately majority of the filmmakers are wealthy kids playing that sort of film, which is why you end up getting a lot of horror where all the kids are really rich and have all got big houses, because that's what the experience they know. And you see so much of this bad horror made by rich kids playing it, something trust fund kids over here that gets made. And that was the other thing with Taylor's Picnic. I wanted to make a sort of working class horror, because I did film studies as well at university, as well as doing design, and I did my dissertation on kitchen sink drama, which was a movement in the UK, because although we've kind of gone backwards now, but kitchen sink dramas in the UK were a lot of them were based on stage plays at the time, but early 50s, early 60s, late 50s, early 60s. They were socially realistic. So there was one film called Taste of Honey, which is about a single mom living with a gay best friend in a flat expecting a baby, which was stories that you'd never come across. There's Saturday Night, Sunday Morning, which is a great, I can't remember the name, Albert Finney film. It's kind of like a precursor to Alfie, if you've ever seen that.
Oh, yeah, okay. Wow.
So they're really good stuff. So I wanted to do something like that, really, again, that showed and that's the whole point of the story, is about sort of struggles of families and no money and just, so.
Yeah. Well, unfortunate that, it ended up a little bit of a negative experience, in hindsight. But I wanted to touch on that. I didn't want to be so haggard on it, but no, I enjoyed it, and I thought it was something really cool, and I did want to highlight on that just because I thought it was really fun, and even for being a short, effective, and I think Lawrence, in anything that he's going to be doing, if someone asked him to be creepy. I think he can pretty well pull it off because that guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Shit.
I think he's one of those guys that should be in more. You know, I was like, particularly you see a lot of the British, anything Victorian British, where he should be in that. I think he's just done a short film actually where he plays like a fan film. Someone's made one of these big Batman fan film things that are huge budget, and he's played the Penguin in it, which he's perfect for.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So I don't think that one's been released yet, but I'd like to see that when he's.
Damn. Wow.
He's posted the short, and he's got like the top hat and the big fur coat and everything. He looks great.
Shit. Yeah, that'll be cool. I'll have to look out for it. You said it's not released yet?
No, I'm not sure. I think it's one of those things. If you go on his page or something, you'll see photos. But
yeah. Okay.
Someone's done a big.
Nice. Oh, yeah, I'll have to check that out. Damn, that sounds sweet. All right, last up here, I wanted to dig into 3 of your pieces from over the years. So just, some of my favorites, and then one that you had mentioned that you wanted to kind of dig into here. But, kind of digging into categories like how maybe they came about and initial ideas for the pieces, maybe how they started to where they ended, and just memories of working on each. So the first one I wanted to dig into was your piece for The Color Out of Space, which I absolutely loved that movie. That was one of my favorite movies of that year for sure. Bring us back to working on the piece that you had for that one.
Yeah, that was. Sorry,
I was just gonna say the poster art. I'm sorry, I keep saying.
Oh
piece.
yeah. No, that was a crazy. It was a crazy job. I picked up the job and I was doing Fifth Element.
Yeah.
And then Studio Command, and that was around sort of November. And then they were after a special poster for Colour Out of Space. And I think because I was working on that at the time, she was like, the project manager I was working with on that obviously said to them, well, Tom's good at working on this. And they were like, great, can you do it? And then they were like, can you do it? We've got no time. And I've also got to finish. And I think I was about halfway through Fifth Element. So I got to finish Fifth Element and fit in this in no fucking time. And I was like,
right.
And it happens all the time, and it's like, budget's one thing, which I can go on a rant about underpaid artists, because that's the thing. Everyone's doing this big movement with art at the moment, particularly with this cover art stuff. But what the artists are actually paid is just fuck all, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you do see these art things, just realise. There's books that are put out. I can't remember the name of the company that put out like these, Ghostbusters book, or they collect all the artists. And none of those artists are paid for it. And it's just like, what other job can you do where people are like, yay, someone's allowing me to do this for nothing?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the guy's like, people, you got to value yourself. It's like if you're putting it out there, as you will, you tell your daughter and stuff, don't just put it out there all the time, because people have got to respect you in the morning, sort of thing. So anyway, they wanted this off the back of it, and it's always the way you basically get no time. It's like, just give me time and we can create great things.
Right.
But these things always seem to be last minutes, particularly on the film posters. So there was no time in it. And I was just like, fuck. So you get that battle of doing, I want to do something good, I've got to perform, and it's got to be done in no time. So you kind of get the stage anxiety about what I can do. So I remember having a bit of a meltdown and then just kind of going, well, fuck, we've got to do something. And obviously I do use a lot of reference stuff. I kind of went through, and it was difficult because I went through the film and I had quite a real low res internet version was all they'd show me. And all I could sort of find was like one shot of Nicolas Cage, because you obviously can't use Nicolas Cage if you're going to paint him. Basically off a poster to get it, a picture to get it exact.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go off and use pictures of Nicolas Cage from anything else apart from that film is what's provided. And there were no stills done, no sort of the behind the scenes stuff. There just wasn't anything. It was crazy. And there was one shot of fucking Nicolas Cage I found that would work on his head. So then I kind of ran with it. They also wanted it to be this really bright magenta because of Mandy. So they wanted to sort of, and then I had to explain that the magenta that they wanted was to look good on screen, but you can't print that. So there's a difference world between what you see on screen, which is in RGB, and then print, which is CMYK. And when you go to print CMYK, everything color's just dull. So they were like, oh well, okay, we understand that, but can you paint it so it kind of looks good on screen and then it kind of works on CMYK, which is a nightmare. So I was kind of, because the colors are all going to fucking change. So I was doing that. Yeah, and I kind of got these. I did a couple of concepts. I did a few concepts, and then they went with this one, basically. And then it kind of expanded out. The concept did as I kind of worked on it. So we kind of had it. They wanted more bits, then we chopped and changed. And then it was actually Richard Stanley, director, who wanted tentacles in it, and I was like, "Fuck, how's that going to work? I'm not going to fucking do tentacles in this shit." And then I kind of, that was it. I had this shape, and it was all kind of, the original layout was composed around this rune shape, which is in the film, which is like a diamond star with
okay.
And then they came up saying we can't use that because some far right group in America has started to use it. And I was like, fuck, man, the rune's been around longer than this group. We'll be fine. So the tentacle thing, so I was like, fuck, that's not going to work. But then I kind of played and I was like, actually, the tentacles did work. And the tentacles really kind of frame it. So obviously I wanted a big central Nicolas Cage. And it was a bit of a shame because he kind of plays a bit of a nerdy type, weird bloke in it. And obviously he got Mandy. He looks fucking cool in that. And it's like, it's not the same character at all. Did you notice though, when you watch it, he does the impression of Donald Trump quite a lot?
yeah.
Because I don't know if it's just me. No many people talk about that, but I'm watching it and going, he's doing Donald Trump, isn't he?
Has to be.
When he goes mad.
That's funny.
So yeah, so then I kind of then I wanted obviously the colour. So it was like, how do you depict the colour? So it was like this explosion of light, and the magenta, was a real thing in itself. So it was like that, and then I spent ages on actually the bottom bit, the surround where the meteor is with the plants. That became quite a big thing, and then they insisted on these alpacas being in, and I had lots of debates about the alpacas. And I was like, you know, I know the alpacas are a part. I kind of thought the project manager just thought alpacas were funny, and he kind of thought, it'll be funny to have alpacas in. And I'm like, it works, but in the concept of selling this film, it's just going to look weird. But I was very lucky as well, because there was no shots really, but I worked with the guy who worked on the special effects. I actually know, and my brain's gone completely blank on what his bloody name is now. Oh, bugger. Yeah. But he's a friend who I know from London. God, he's gone blank. He'll come back. But he's done the special effects on another film that I did, the Other Side of the Door. Okay. So I was able to reach out, you know, he mentioned, I found out he did it, and he had some special effects shots of what these mutated llamas look like. So I got to see some of that. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I can work with that. I understand what that's going on. Because when you actually see the film, they're kind of not very clear, and it's all kind of blurry.
Right.
But yeah, so I got to do that. So I was lucky with that, and it just all became this. But then halfway through that, I got so ill, and it was just around December time. And I swear, if they say like COVID, I'm not one of these crackpot things again, but if COVID came into the UK before when we were all told it was, I swear to God, I had it then. Because my temperature was like, I was in tears. My temperature went to like 109. It was batshit, and I was in so much pain. And I fucking worked through that, because it's like, I had no deadline. So I dragged myself out of bed with a raging temperature and was working on that. With COVID, I'm going to say, we're going to deal with that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I've had the shots, I think so. But yeah, so I was so ill during that time.
But so with that project, that wasn't what you had to work off all of just stills that they gave you and images. It wasn't anything that you got to work on seeing the movie actually.
No, it was kind of piecing up bits. I mean, there were stills that you got, but I said there was hardly any. You come across some productions where there's some like great, but there was, like I say, so mainly it was kind of just like a few headshots or bits of heads, and I kind of had to build on on that, really.
Man, that is frustrating probably on your end, but as far as hearing that, you know, and seeing it and being familiar with the work, I mean, that's fucking awesome.
I mean, there are some bits where
that's
I'd
talent.
like to have still given. I'd like to have given Nicolas Cage 2 arms in it, but they didn't like the second arm, and they said just remove it. So I still look at it. The only concern is it looks a bit odd. And I was going to have the kid in the, you know, you got the setup of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
You've got like mom, the daughter. There's the wolf dog, and then did have the kid, and they then wanted to replace the kid with I can't remember his name, the other guy who's like the reporter.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he basically, they were setting up for a sequel, and he was going to be a big part of the sequel, which is never going to happen now.
Oh, no fucking way.
Yeah, so that's why they wanted him on the poster and not the kid. So that's why that. But, yeah.
Whoa, man, what a bummer.
I think they were going to do like a trilogy of them, basically.
I had heard that he was going to do something where he was going to make 3 different movies that were all like the same universe, but still H.P. Lovecraft. I didn't know if it was going to be like a sequel or anything like that, but God damn, what a bummer.
I did find a book, somebody's wrote a sequel to Colour Out of Space. It's not. I don't know. Really? It's not him, but someone's kind of done it in the style of H.P. Lovecraft. So yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't think that's going to go ahead now. Maybe it'll go ahead with a different director. I don't know.
Just a different director. Yeah. Damn.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, second up, I wanted to mention. So you just mentioned a second ago, the other side of the door, and particularly the fact that you have 3 different pieces that you did for this bad boy. So what comes to mind as far as being approached in this project? It seems huge.
Yeah, I did a couple of like one-off pieces, real last-minute random ones for Fox. Because when I went out to LA with books, I met with Fox and I got to do a few posters. I did, but I think it was frustrating because none of them really got to showcase me, and I didn't really get much time to work on them. Obviously, I did Spy after the Heat, Paul Fig, which I think I'd already done. And then they got me on to do like little posters like Victor Frankenstein, Joy, which I did, which was a really weird project. That was fucking crazy. And I can't remember, there was another one, I can't remember. So then they had, we've got a horror thing, and they threw me this. And I was a bit like, never really got to properly run with something. And then they gave me a good amount of time on this. And originally they only wanted 1 poster. And again, this is the artist, it's very much like an acting job. You get hired for a gig, you really put your all, you hope this film's going to sort of take off and get you noticed.
Right.
But unfortunately, other side of the door, kind of just, I don't think it got a proper release in America. But anyway, I ran with it, and I did like a load of concepts because there was some interesting material to work with the, I can't remember the bloody name of the religion in India.
Okay, yeah.
We'll call them something or other. This religion where they're like contact the dead, or they've got there's a name for them anyway. The big dreadlocks they have. So so there was these characters, and there was this whole mysticism. There was great, and there was this god with all the arms. There was great stuff to work with, and they wanted kind of some real classic horror pieces to sell it. So they did send over a lot of Freddy Krueger stuff and like Hellraiser, and I was like, that stuff's kind of a bit more I don't want to say schlocky horror, but it's all very creaturey horror, and this kind of felt to me a bit more classic, like 70s sort of Exorcist, Omen sort of tone. Trying to fit into a Freddy Krueger thing felt a bit, it just wasn't fitting into the hole for me. So I did a lot of these more older style poster arts, and I did a bunch of them, and they liked so many they just wanted to run with these 3. Obviously the main one was this montage one that I kind of did as very much inspired by the old horror cover book art pieces.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Also a bit of Apocalypse Now thrown in.
Okay.
But yeah, it was very much that sort of 70s. And then the other two were more subliminal, well, more, obviously there was one that was very much sort of Omen inspired with the door and like the concept of the kid, because the kid comes back, but he's actually possessed by this demon, so his demon was the shadow in it. And then the hands out the door one was because obviously, I liked this door is the central piece to it, but I like the creepy aspect of these hands all coming out. But yeah, it was, and I said I did loads of concepts for these, and it was fun. It was a fun project to work on. Particularly, I like with the main. I mean, I kind of the colours on the main one. I really was happy with, and that layout. Yeah, I enjoyed. It was a fun project. It was a fun project to be able to explore the sort of classic side of it and emphasise that. Yeah, it was a shame that the film sort of didn't really, make much of an impact, really, unfortunately. Because again, the guy who did the special effects on Colour Out of Space, did all the special effects.
Did on it for this. Oh, okay, wow.
It was great. And he said he had a fun story because they're out in India filming it, and he did the dog's head. I don't know if you've seen the film, but you end up with a dog's head at some point.
Oh, shit, okay.
He was there, and they had like some of the big Bollywood film producers there, and they were like, we're very impressed with your work to him. We love this, the dog head that you did. And how much would it cost to do that? And he obviously said this amount, which is a lot of work, the hair, everything. And Dan, that's his name, Dan, got to remember his second name now.
Okay.
He's got a special effects studio in the UK. He does a load of stuff. And he told this Bollywood producer how much the dog head would have cost, and his assistant translated to him, and he just laughed and said something, and he was like, well, what did he say? And he was like, we could go off and get one off the street for nothing.
Oh, Jesus. The frustration behind some of that too, and a lot of times, I mean, even when you look at something like a corporation, and you have the big wigs that go and they just are asking, and it's like, well, you sit here and you take the time and actually realize what it is, even if it's something, as far as a poster or doing different things, the final product, all the different drafts and things. You've mentioned other pieces too. Do you know how many pieces did you end up doing for the other side of the door? More than the 3?
Yeah. There was, I can't remember. I did a load.
Oh my God.
There was a couple that sort of didn't make it that I really liked. Because I did a few actually because the actual the god that you see, like, it's got very long hair and all these arms, and I did a really cool one with like a mountain. I did a bunch with skulls, but they just didn't want to go anything with skulls, so they all kind of got removed.
Damn.
But yeah,
I
have done today. I just agreed to, I've talked about it in the past, but I've agreed to do a sort of an art book with a publisher of my art.
So, nice.
And so I'll probably dig out a lot of the concepts for that, really. So
nice. That's awesome. That is very, very cool.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Hopefully that'll come out next November, in November. So 2002 November.
Shit. Damn. Okay. that's awesome. And now is your book still available? Is that still for sale, or has that been
the VHS book?
Yeah,
I still think that's knocking around. I'm sure.
Okay.
All the publishers can make money out of it. They'll still keep churning out editions.
Okay. I didn't know if it was just you had a couple editions of it, and then that was just kind of that was that, or if that ended up getting if that's still out there then.
Yeah. I still sort of trickle in royalties from it.
Sweet. Nice. I don't have a copy, and I'm gonna have to pick that bad boy up, but I have seen it, and that thing is fucking awesome. I love that stuff, and
I'm obviously, with what I do, I'm a big fan of art books, and they wanted to really showcase this art. And at the time, it was a lost art that people hadn't seen, and particularly, if you don't live in the UK, it's good. You see stuff that art that you've never seen before, connected to films that you probably know. So it's a different angle. But
I love that.
Sadly, one of the great artists literally passed away only the other month or so, Enzo Schiotti. And he
passed?
He passed away Enzo did. Shockingly, I met him at a convention, and he was kind of a sprightly guy. He was obviously knocking on in years, but yeah, he passed away. God, it must have been like the other month, which was
Oh shit! I did not know that. Wow.
yeah.
Damn.
So now we've got. I mean, Rento Casaro's still kicking, but yeah, Enzo did some of the best. Him and Casaro, I think, and obviously Graham did some good ones, but Rento, Casaro, and Enzo did some of the greatest pieces.
Damn. Wow. That's insane. I didn't know that either. That's what a shame. Well, I mean, it's on a positive note, as far as having the opportunity to, and even all the people that are out there right now that are, struggling with health and different things, and even yourself, when you had, the 109 temperature, it's like kind of a blessing in a sense, for every day that we get to wake up and be like, all right, let's pack a punch on this shit and make today count for maybe something. At least have the opportunity.
Yeah, it's good to create and do shit, stick something out there. I mean, that's what I like about this. Being able to, create something is a great outlet for stuff, man.
Yeah.
Being able to realize.
Last up, I wanted to dig into this bad boy here. We got Tammy and the T-Rex. Honestly, the with Vinegar Syndrome killing it. But the lenticular cover and all, one of my favorite things that I have in my collection of Blu-rays. Tell us a little bit about how that bad boy came about and working with Vinegar Syndrome on that.
Yeah, it was one of the. I'm not sure if they contacted me and I'd done a couple of like quick jobs for them, or if I did that first. I can't remember that. But yeah, this is one of the first pieces I've ever seen. I've done a couple of pieces that were meant to be in lenticular. I did Della Morte for a German, which is Cemetery, for a German cover, and that was supposed to be lenticular. But a lot of companies have pulled out of them, and I tried to tell them to do a Fifth Element lenticular, but I think they cost a lot to knock out, and so nobody's really gone that way. But so they contacted me about Tammy as a film poster first, because they got this film. It was the alternate cut, and they was doing it tour with the film festivals.
Okay.
They just handed it basically. It was a batshit story. So I kind of wanted to treat it. I mean, obviously, I did three concepts for that. I was surprised they went with the one that they did go with in the end, out of the three. But I wanted to basically sort of do an 80s Drew Struzan kids comedy thing, but then ultra violent.
Okay.
Big, with big gore things. So yeah, it was good fun because it was very much like that 80s, palm tree street. The colours were very bright. I got to do that. I had great fun playing around with the logos. I did a few logos for it.
Okay.
And they actually used both. They used two of them on the box art. But yeah, I loved the actual. Yeah, doing like the Uber 90s logo. That was great fun.
Nice.
It was kind of a straightforward piece. Get the woman. I got my partner to pose for it.
Okay.
For instance, it was difficult to get the arms. It's one of those things. I'm still about the arms, but it was hard to get because obviously dinosaurs have got no arms. So to get the dinosaur fitting around her, but not, was kind of a challenge. I kind of forced a bit of perspective. But it's hilarious if you watch a film. Those arms just do not follow physics on the dinosaur. You see him picks the phone up, and his arm kind of goes, and you're thinking, well, that's going to go. Yeah, the arms in the film are really weird.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's an odd film, and it's funny the way the billing. When you see the billing on the video cover originally, and the dude who plays in Weekend at Bernie's,
okay,
I can't remember the actor's name, who plays the Mad Doctor in it. He gets like top billing in the 80s, and now it's like Chris Walker.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. I love the colours. I mean, it's one of those things I really like. Oh, it came out in the end. I love the bright colours. I like doing a lot of comedy stuff. I've done a few comedy posters, and I don't really get to do much But yeah, I loved those as a kid. Obviously, National Lampoon's Vacation,
Oh yeah.
Police Academy, Juice Shoes, and they used to do some great comedy posters.
Right.
Uh,
Right. I mean that's cool. And something like Vinegar Syndrome too. I've always loved their horror stuff, and then they kind of have spawned out into some of like the sexploitation type thing. But when they dig into kind of releasing some of the comedy stuff too as well. I really have been having a lot of fun with some of the stuff that they've been releasing, and even recently still putting out some absolutely really cool things. So and it's always fun seeing the custom artwork with them too.
I think they more started off, didn't they? Just sort of releasing pure adult stuff, and they've kind of really picked the baton of like, well, what Arrow and Scream were doing, but kind of don't do anymore, which is releasing the really obscure shit.
Yeah.
On good formats again. So they're really they're really knocking them out. Really sort of run with it at the moment. Obviously, them. I've done a couple. I've done one. Just finished it the other month. That's was a good one to work on because it was one of the films I actually always liked.
Oh man, nice!
It was like one of the last good, funny, B movie VHS creature features that was done. So the last of the '90s sort of ones that they made.
Oh, damn!
I went all out on that one.
Sweet, that's awesome.
One release. There's a fun one that should be re-released tonight, actually on midnight. That's a real special one that I had good fun working on. That was a real unusual project, really unique. I know they wanted to tour the film festivals with it, but like they did with Tammy. I don't know if they're going to do. I don't know if that's happening now with the COVID kind of messed it up. They sort of held it back for a year.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's a real fun. And if you're sort of a fan of like Samurai Cop and what was the other one? Miami Connection. It's very much in that sort of genre tone. It's a unique film.
Sick.
Yeah,
nice.
So that's good.
Nice.
I think that's being released tonight. Yeah.
Sweet. So awesome. I'll have to
that.
keep my eyes open for that. Yeah, for sure. Are they releasing a whole new line? I know just the other day they'd released like 4 of their pre-orders for the next month, but is this a separate thing then?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I saw somebody shared the Dawn of the Discs post that was that they're at 12 o'clock. They're announcing this special. I mean, it's a nice box set again, a bit like I did with Samurai.
Oh man, sick! That is awesome, yeah, man. I can't wait. That's cool. That's cool. And I mean, hearing that you're involved in it too, I always love seeing the stuff that you incorporate with these different movies too. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah. It was handling material that which I loved as a kid, and I've always wanted to sort of work with. So it was good fun to sort of do something like that. Because I kind of got into horror late originally when I started out. It was all very much action films, martial arts, and that sort of, Rambo and Commando. And so yeah, I like to work on a lot of that as well.
Now, does a lot of this stuff, does it start off as like pencil drawings, just as far as maybe earlier sketches? I should have gotten into this a whole lot earlier, and I'm just thinking of this now, as you mentioned, work on stuff. But does a lot of it start kind of organically like that, or is it something where you've been very specific with different pads and different, technology as far as...
We do everything, it doesn't get much... when you say digital, people think it's a dirty word. But, I do everything digitally because it's what I've always known since getting into... Like I said, I got into design back in...
Sure.
God, when did I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to sort of college and got into design... we were doing everything, computers when I first got into graphics. It was just the tail end of people physically even using like blue liner, because you used to do everything, sketch out everything by hand, and then computers just started to sort of come in with it. So I kind of did it. So I'm also digitally, because I haven't got the space, I haven't got the money to, paint and everything. It's, so doing this stuff digitally, it's also quick and it allows you to be flexible. For instance,
Sure.
when I did what was it, Spy, it was all signed off and did it, and then they wanted one character changing, which is this woman in the middle. It was originally a bikini, and then they wanted her in a dress. So yeah, if that was a physical painting, you'd be fucked.
Right.
I think Drew Susan has had one. I think it was Ventures in Babysitting, and they wanted to change the cityscape and make it bigger, so he had to scalpel all around the characters. So there would have probably been a way to do it, but it was easier because because of the size and scale, I tend to do bits in sections and then piece it all together, because I haven't got a computer big enough to allow me to just do it all in one clean go.
Oh, okay.
So luckily everything was kind of in sections, so I could easily remove it, redo the new character and drop that in. And so, so digitally does allow, in this day and age, of flexibility with it.
Sure.
So I do sort of do, concept, very rough sort of concept layouts for composition, sort of, very much like you see what Graham do. So you kind of, get some heads stick about, position things. How's it going to work? I mean, it's the worst. It's the most stressful point when you've just got nothing, and it's like, fuck, I've got to come up with something. How am I going to do this one? What can I do? That can be. I still remember the words of my first boss when I got the first design job. She was like, "Yeah, I always panic on a job. I'm always like, shit, is this the job I'm going to fail to do?" And that's always stuck in my head now. And every time you kind of get it, you think, shit, is this the one I'm not going to be able to do? Or, but I mean, obviously you always manage to stick something together.
Yeah, it's the inspiration and the push to keep on going and challenge yourself. Shit.
Yeah. It's like, so somebody did. Yeah, I'm constantly trying to. Somebody did a good art quote about, always trying to create something and do better than the one previous, or build on it. So it's always trying to come up with the one design that's going to, unite the world and bring about world peace, or mission and pay.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of them, and sometimes you'll look back on stuff and it's like, how the fuck did I do that? I still, the Innkeepers, that's one of the ones where I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? And even it's weird how some things just got, like I did the Rutger Hauer one. I loved the film, so it was a pleasure to do it. Split Second.
Oh yeah, okay.
His face and the colours just really fucking came together. I'm like, how the fuck,
man? Yeah. And when I mentioned, no, go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna say, mentioning with like pencils and different things like that, maybe organically shouldn't be the thing, because at the end of the day, whether it's digitally or whether it's pencil or drawing, anything, you have to have the talent. I mean, that's the thing, is that maybe certain people try to go about things about like art with like a purist and say, oh well, if it's not hand drawn, it's not bullshit. You go ahead and you try to draw some of the stuff, whether it's on a screen or on paper, some of it's not going to come together. You have to have that talent. And even, when you look into like vector art, for instance, I had never even known, what that was up until maybe a couple of years ago. And looking into that shit, it's like, how the fuck? I have no idea. I would have no comprehension of how to pull something together like that, much less being able to do some of the things and some of the fine detail, and many times, it's like that's a cool thing. I think correlating it with film, as far as, with like CGI, for instance, I can't stand CGI, but then it's awesome when, something you go back and you look into, maybe the behind the scenes and it was like, oh, that whole part was CGI. I was like, well, they did it so well that you can't fucking tell. That's awesome. I love that, So, I mean, it works. You have the talent and you make it happen, and and certainly that applies to you, man. And I appreciate all the stuff that you've put out over the years and even up to recently, man.
Oh, cheers. Hopefully I've done something to bring about people remembering this kind of style, some of the old artists, and showcasing this sort of movement in a way of what it is. But yeah, it's
yeah.
I mean, I do consider it very much like an art. I know it's a commercial thing, but I still put a lot into each piece. still suffer as much. And
Yeah.
this sort of art is the art that, as a kid, I always liked. This is the sort of stuff that you had on the walls. So this is what inspires me. It's very much connected to my childhood. It's it is personal, a lot of the stuff that I do. So it's not this sort of cold corporate design thing that's knocked out. It is very much art driven. And it is very it is very personal to me. And I always argue that even fine art as we know it, when you look at like the masters and all this, a lot of the time they were just kind of artists hired by lords and ladies to paint pictures of themselves to make themselves look good, so when they had a party they could put the poster up on the wall and promote themselves. So it's it's all still connected to that. It's just over the years we look at old stuff out of the context of what it was at the time. I remember I was watching a documentary on, I think it was the exhibition where they've got the lady with the pearl earring, and then not in Amsterdam, anyway, somewhere along there, and they had the curator of the art of the piece of the museum there, and the art person was there waxing quite lyrical, and he says it is very much a modern take on art, where we'll look at these portraits and pictures and we put the emphasis on what the artist's mindset would have been when he was creating this picture, like the girl with the pearl earring. It's like, what was the artist trying to say? He said always in the past it was just considered an art piece, a fine art piece. It's only now have we started to put that angle on it. So it's how we do things. So you never know, in hundreds of years time people might look back at a lot of these old pieces and start seeing them as we hold stuff closer to us, like our antiques is very different to what the generation that followed and what the kids have to us as well. But yes, I still see it all as it's a form of fine art, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I love it, and I see on all the posts that they put out, and in some of the cats even here on Instagram that reshare some of the cover art and different things like that. I mean, it works. Absolutely works. People love the shit, and people love seeing that. Maybe it's kind of something that's come around, but it's come around because people appreciate it. So yeah, absolutely a bravo, and keep it up. I love it.
Thanks for taking the time and everything. Cool.
Absolutely. All right. So this is wrapping up, my man. I've taken more than the allotted time that I had initially asked, so I greatly appreciate that. Quickly before I do have one finale question here, but this is your opportunity as far as to let everybody know, how can we support you? How can we find, maybe some prints, some different things like that? How can we support the Dude Designs?
Message me. I'll send you my bank details. You can transfer money. I need it.
There it is.
Do. Now, I mean, if you go onto the website, I've started to do T-shirts and prints. I basically came up with the idea of just sticking all my prints online and doing one limited run. So a lot of not all the more recent pieces, but all the old past pieces. I've done 150 limited edition one-off Italy prints. So when they're gone,
nice.
They'll be gone forever.
That's it.
So they're a bargain price as well. I mean, they're not the cheapest, but these are one-off sort of runs. I would like to kind of get into the NFT thing. I don't even know where to begin, but I'm hoping that that's a sort of avenue for the future, because aside from those limited edition prints, I've got like the original digital file, and if that ever becomes a sort of commodity, I'd love to be able to sell the original one-off, but we'll see. But yeah, so go online, go on the website, buy a printer, a T-shirt. I've got some awesome T-shirts, really do.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude.
I've got these. Basically, I came up with the idea of VHS. I was like, it'd be cool if you found VHS staff T-shirts. That'd be awesome. So I did this run. I took old names of old video shops. Sometimes took the logo. Then I kind of jazzed them up, created the graphic of what the video shop would be, and I've done it. And it's how cool would you be walking in with like one of them's video hits, Video Edge, staff VHS, video staff T-shirt. Your friends would be all like, "That's an awesome thing." So yeah, so I've done those. And I've got like 5 or I can't remember how many. There's a bunch of VHS staff T-shirts, and then I've done a limited run Kung Fu collection because I always like that. So I've done like 3. I did Ninja, Karate, and Kung Fu. You'll see them, these things. And you can get the limited edition T-shirts of those. I've also done, I've got one somewhere. I did limited edition banners, dojo banners. And they're the most awesome. I actually got one. I did get one because they're expensive and to get them printed. And I got one for myself, and it's huge, and it's the coolest looking fucking thing you've ever seen. You see, you're not that big.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, basically, buy that. You buy one because they're fucking awesome.
Damn.
Flags, because I used to have them on one. I had a Doors flag and another one, the fabric sort of posters. So,
that rules.
Yeah, so I did them as a limited edition run as well. But yeah, the fabric banners look awesome. The T-shirts look great too. I should have got one to show you, but it's over the other side of the room. Yeah.
Oh,
so yeah, buy a print, buy a T-shirt.
Sweet.
Pass my name on, share stuff, like it, tag me on it, and if you know anybody who works in any industries, in the industry like Netflix, give me a shout.
Give a shout. Give a share there for sure.
I'd like to
Yeah.
I'd love to do the next Stranger Things. I was because I've been around. I was one of the first artists on the scene revamping this, because when I sort of came on, Arrow were just using Rick Melton, literally.
Oh yeah.
Rick Melton.
Okay.
And like everything that Arrow do, they kind of churn people up and spit them out the other end. So he doesn't work. Obviously, he doesn't do their stuff anymore. But yeah. So I sort of came on the scene, and no one was really sort of doing this sort of stuff. So I was one of the rebirth artists on the scene. So yeah, I've been around for a while doing it. Is a lot of the film stuff now, they kind of use and do kind of Drew. They'll just hire someone to do the Drew Struzan style, which is a shame because there's a lot more that can be done.
Yeah, right. Just
it's
being pigeonholed into the one specific look for sure.
Yeah, people. I think it's because they feel that people can consume that, accept it. I mean, there is a big worry with illustrated art that people think it's like an animation or something. So they can kind of compute Drew Struzan. But yeah, there was so much more. I mean, obviously, I can't remember the name of the artist now. But yeah, there's loads of good art.
Did he do Firstborn? Do you remember that movie with I think it was Peter Weller?
No.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to look at it. I'm gonna have to send you because the cover art is so fucking cool. I mean, it's not a horror movie by any means, but it's got Peter Weller in it. He plays like kind of this real dickhead stepdad, and oh man, I'm gonna have to look it up too, because like the cover art especially is just like something straight out of an 80s or 90s like nostalgia book, like just ridiculous, almost kind of like Critters back here, but it's got him drawn on the cover, and it's just like ridiculous, but it's fucking awesome. Yeah, I'll have to send you that.
The only Paul Weller one I know, I'm sure it's Paul Weller. Yeah, Peter Weller was Unknown Origin. I've still yet to watch that. You seen that?
Oh, dude, yeah, I've got a DVD copy of it. That movie fucking rules. And he's insane. He's insane.
A lot of the I get a lot of vehicles. I don't watch them in case the film's shit and it ruins the film. So I kind of sit.
Okay. No, I mean, I say it's awesome, but that was kind of, that was from, my young mind and, seeing it some years ago. Maybe some of the stuff that's out nowadays, you might watch it and be like, this isn't great, but go into it, kind of with just an open mind and having some fun with it. Maybe a couple of drinks and enjoy the bullshit that guy's going through in the movie. Be thankful it's not you. All right, so I've, like I mentioned, I've taken up more than a lot of time here. Really quick, I just want to ask you. So, if you had the opportunity, for the finale here, you had the opportunity where somebody approached you and they said, look, we're going to be making a pinball machine, similar to the situation with how Hobo with the Shotgun got the complete wraparound with your artwork.
Yeah,
They said, you can do anything that you would like. We're going to make a pinball machine off of a horror movie that you would love to make, just the whole thing. What pinball machine would you make based off of just something that you would like to work on? So you can make figures, you can make the wraparound artwork, anything. What movie would it be based on?
For a pinball machine?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
Lots of small detail, lots of digging on in, lots of, every little damn part.
I don't know, it's a hard one. It's I wouldn't pick anything that's, because I saw that they did a really good one, Halloween one, didn't they? Jason Edmonton.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah. So I wouldn't pick anything that was like, I kind of avoid a lot of stuff that is kind of the big, like Freddy, Jason stuff, because it's done so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. It's hard. I'm never good with these spot questions.
What's a horror movie that you watched recently that you dug? Is there something that comes to mind that you'd be like, you know what, I'll do some shit for this?
I've not really watched.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing, and my brain's kind of, I don't know. I'm sure there'll be something. I mean,
well,
I'm kind of used to just getting stuff thrown at me. And so, like, Night of the Living Dead, I suppose, would be quite a fun one to do. You could do a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Or even Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead, something where, I suppose if you're going to do something, obviously it's like with pinball, you want something where you can do a multifaceted piece. I suppose Dawn of the Dead would be kind of a good one, because you could do like the whole mall section and different.
Yeah, food court.
You could, something you could really think of on another level. So
damn, yeah, you're onto something there, man. Holy shit. I might have to delete this just so if somebody approaches you, you can make that happen, because fuck, that would be awesome. That'd be so cool. Yeah. All right, man. This has been absolutely awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate your patience, and sticking through the frustration connection at the beginning there. But thank you very much. I love your stuff, man, and keep on pushing. And thank you again for your time.
No, cheers. Thank you for having me on, man. It's been fun.
All right, man. You take care and stay safe and stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Cheers, man.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of a live studio audience.